For some cancer patients, a clinical trial is their only hope. A diagnosis of aggressive or treatment-resistant forms of the disease can sometimes mean that the best shot of survival comes from a cutting-edge treatment that hasn't had time to be approved. And that's why the Canadian Cancer Society is unveiling a new website. It's aimed at helping people find a trial that could potentially save their life. Joining us with more on how it works is Dr. Denis Solier. He is a medical oncologist and a spokesperson for the Canadian Cancer Society. Welcome to your morning.
Good morning.
I went on their website this morning. It is cancertrialscanada.ca. I typed in a specific type of cancer, so I picked lung cancer. Up popped 384 trials. Tell us more on how this works for patients.
Yeah, so first, clinical trials are the way by which we're able to make sure that new drugs that are being developed are actually effective and should become the norm for cancer patients. So without cancer trials, we're not able to affirm that actually new drugs are effective and how and when they should be used for cancer patients. So the website is an initiative as part of a major plan to make sure that not only are cancer trials being conducted, but that they are a norm in Canada. We cannot go forward without having more cancer patients involved into cancer trials. And the platform that you're talking about is to make sure that patients can go and access this, but more than just patients, it is also there for all healthcare professionals to help them see how the initiatives that are going on in Canada for cancer patients in terms of cancer trials.
From there, doctor, then how will patients know which one to apply to or if they even qualify? Do they work with a doctor for that, or is that something that can be directed from the website?
It could be partly directed from the website. So when we're conducting a trial, we have to look at what are called inclusion and exclusion criteria. And it's sometimes tough for patients to decide just by looking at whether or not it fits into one of those trials. Probably the help of a health professional, so either oncologist, physician, or a nurse, could help the patients see whether or not they are fit for a trial. But not only that, but they could also go directly on the website and get help from somebody there who could direct them to one of the trials for which they could be eligible, seeing if it's close to their place or not. So the website is really there to make this as easy as possible for patients to see that there are initiatives, to make it known that cancer trials have to be conducted in Canada, and to make sure that patients can access them as much as possible.
It is an incredible resource. This information typically only available to those in the healthcare industry, or if you knew somebody who knew something. You've made it so accessible for patients. One thing people might not be familiar with is the biggest risks that are involved in signing up for a clinical trial. Can you explain some of those?
Well, there's no treatment that goes without risk, and that is true for approved drugs as well as for non-approved drugs that are part of a cancer trial. But in the context of a cancer trial, everything is extremely supervised. So before a trial is conducted, it has to be supervised by an ethics approval. It has to get the approval of Health Canada. And even when we're conducting the trial, there is monitoring of all the results ongoing, so that if there are emerging toxicities that have not been foreseen, we can directly act on it. So either by reducing the dose or proposing to alleviate the symptoms by something else. So there's what we call data safety monitoring boards that are there to make sure that the trials being conducted are as safe as possible. And so we cannot make sure that nobody will have side effects. That's clearly not the case. And we know that a lot of cancer drugs will give side effects, and those that are on trial will give side effects as well. It's the fact that we want to be able to manage them in the context that we also want to prove that the adverse events that are happening are not hampering the capacity to increase the efficacy of those drugs.
A survey conducted just this year by the Angus Reid Institute found 90% of respondents say they support expanding access to clinical trials for cancer patients. Of course they would. But the majority of respondents also admitted to not knowing a lot of information about what happens in a trial. You've outlined some of the risks and conditions, but what would you like people to know about trials?
Yeah, so we have a large environment that is that presents all the side effects to patients. And these are all possible side effects but also the informed consent that we're giving out to patients also explain what are the possible benefits from all of this. So when conducting a trial, we want to make sure that the balance in terms of side effects that can be endured by the patient are less than the benefit that we're giving, that are potential benefit that we can give them from the activity of the drug. So this is how trials are conducted. This is why they are conducted. It's an environment where we are making sure as much as possible that patients are safe. And this is the only way by which we're able to get knowledge on all those new drugs and make sure that we're using them adequately for patients with cancer. So at the adequate time, so is it at the first initiation of cancer that we have to use those drugs, or whether we have to use them a bit later? This is what we have to do in the context of trials. And this initiative of the cancer website that you talked about is only one of a different plan that has been exposed by the society last week to make sure that cancer trials are not only known to patients, but that there are more of them, that there are more initiatives to make sure that through the knowledge that we acquire through cancer trials, we're going to reduce the fingerprint of cancer. We cannot reduce the number of patients who are dying from cancer if we're not conducting more research.
Medical oncologist Dr. Denis Solier, and a reminder to everybody, it's cancertrialscanada.ca if you'd like to take a look. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for the time.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.